Hi there, I'm Linden Thorp, and this is Lodestone Lunch, and I'm here every Monday to talk about embodiment, and especially to encourage coaches and trainers and educators, as well as creatives as well, to come and join me and learn more about what embodiment is and actually experience it. Because I think one of the problems with embodiment, as I've said before in this um, uh, session, is to do with the fact that we know the word and we can make the word work in your body, but people have not experienced it actually. And that's because they're in the limited mind and they don't know how to get out of it. So I've developed various methods and so on to help people get out of the limited mind, their bodies, to reconnect with themselves. And in fact, I've done a lot of work with burnout people who've either burnt out or are on the verge of doing it. And I want to share this with everybody. I want to avoid burnout. I want to help people avoid burnout. That's my mission in life. So this week we have a masterclass on Wednesday, and Smita Abraham, who is an embodiment worker like me, is going to come along, and we're going to tell you more about what the reality is about embodiment, how it actually works for human beings. So if you're interested in that, we'll put the link beneath the window later. So please come along and join us, and then you'll be able to listen in to the conversation. But before we do that, before I go on to talk about that, I'd like to just share my screen with you and give you a little presentation to set the scene for digital life. And last week we talked about digital life in many different ways, and the kind of strains it puts on the body and the spirit and the unlimited mind. So let me share my presentation with you. It's voiceless, so you need to think that your volume isn't working. Okay, here we go. Sorry, my microphone wasn't on. Sorry about that. I'll have to do. Okay, before we can go any further, let's think about the breath, because technology needs preparation. If you're going to use it properly and not let it use you, and we know that many people are addicted to technology, and especially screen babies. They don't know anything else except the screen. So you see them walking around holding their phone for dear life. So people are addicted to technology. So to make some inroads to that, let's just take a breath. Let's take breaths. So just allow your eyelids to drop, but don't close your eyes entirely. At the tip of your nose. And here we go. Let's just do 3 simple breaths. Here we go. In, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Rest. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Rest. Okay, so while your eyes are still lowered, just feel how that breath has made a change in your body, maybe in your chest, maybe in your shoulders, maybe down in your legs. Remember, the whole human body is connected together, and what happens at the top often affects what happens at the bottom because of circulation and so on, and also the incredibly complicated nervous system and all the nerve canals that go right to the extremes of the body. So notice how that's made you feel, and just then allow your eyelids to open or stay as you. Just a little bit about how the body really never leaves the present moment. It's only the mind, this mind, that travels. The body is always in the present moment. And we know that because we have circadian rhythms. We live according to the sun, although you may have changed your routine due to work and getting up early or going to bed late or whatever it is. But in fact, the human body is regulated by the sun. And when the sun is in the sky, we are working in a different way to when the sun goes down. And so these are called circadian rhythms. And they exist. Nothing will destroy those apart from being vacant in your body. Yeah, if you're never there in your body, then it's going to be very difficult for those rhythms to keep you balanced. So it's really important to remember that we are not in control of everything about our existence. The earth and the universe really do have a very great influence on us. A really good example of this is the moon. Yeah, I'm really affected by the moon very strongly. So I can tell when a full moon is coming up. I start to get very tense, not tense, but not I don't feel right. This headache of some kind, that's pressure as the tides change, because the moon governs the tides of the world's oceans. So I'm very sensitive to the moon. And once the full moon has risen and waned away, then I feel great. And I get this huge surge of energy. And then I'm okay for the rest of the month before the next full moon. But usually full moon, I'm very affected. So it's really important to realize that you're not creating in partnership with the earth. If we live in large urban groups, we may not really feel that, obviously, but in fact it's true. And our bodies are regulated by these circadian rhythms, which are governed by the earth and the universe. And so it's really in control of everything. If you get into your body, you'll soon find that the body is always now. It doesn't have a past, it doesn't have a future. The body operates right now, in the moment, right in the center of the moment. And that's how we can navigate life, because the body is always present. But unfortunately, because this mind between the ears has become a kind of bully, a dominance in our life, then we really forget about the body, and many of us, and we just live from the limited mind. And of course, this was never meant to be. We were never meant to live from the limited mind. Imagine before language developed, before humans could speak, how did they live? They lived in partnership with the earth. They got up when the sun rose, they went to bed when the sun set, and so on. And they used the materials of the earth to live. They didn't have money, they didn't have cars, they didn't have any conveniences. And this is a very natural way of living. About 25 years ago, I lived with a group of Australian Aboriginals for a period of time. And really, I have never become so aware of the importance of balance between the body and the spirit and the mind, unlimited mind consciousness, if you like, since that time. That time was a huge turning point in my life, because I could see how the tribal people I was with lived completely in tune with the earth. Australian Aboriginals are born with a totem. A totem is a kind of symbol. It's either an animal or a weather formation or many different things. But the simplest example is an animal. So some of the children I was with during that time, they each had a totem. One was a crocodile. Another one was koala. This is Australia, don't forget. Another one was kangaroo. Another one was jabiru, which is a black and white bird native to Australia. And so from being really young, they start to look out for their totemic species. And so these children watch the jabiroos, and look after them, learn how to look after them. And of course, the elders would help that. So that's what they do. They don't have jobs. They don't have money. They are custodians of the earth. And their circadian rhythms are really strong. So they have lots and lots of skills that we have forgotten, because this has taken over and language has become developed. And symbols. So in the visual world, we live with symbols. Everything, words are symbols, images are symbols. So my question has always been, what is beneath the symbols? And really, that's what I do. That's how I embody people. I take them below and behind all those symbols, as I was taken behind them by Australian Aboriginal tribal elders. And they taught me how to be exactly here and now. And in fact, the group I was with called anything different to here and now the frowns and tears of then and there, because they are so present in the moment that they have no idea about the past and the future. It doesn't figure in their lives. So they call it the land of frowns and tears. And unfortunately, feel that we so-called developed people are in that land of frowns and tears, and that they are here and now, and their lives are truly happy, are truly balanced, and they're doing the most important job in the world, which is to look after the planet. Without the planet, we can't exist. The Earth provides everything we need. The first thing is oxygen. Planet Earth is the only planet scientists know of that provides breathable gas. So we can breathe. And we can breathe for 50, 60, 70, 80, even 90 years, every single 24 hours. And every single 24 hours, we breathe between 20 and 24,000 times, every 24 hours. It's amazing. So we are not in control. The Earth is our partner. And the seasons, which are starting to disappear because of pollution and so on. But it's important to realize that you are not the master of your existence at all. If you couldn't breathe, within 4 minutes, you wouldn't exist. So it's the breath and the body that allow us to live. And people forget that. Your breath is your most precious asset. Yeah. It doesn't cost anything. You can't possess it. You can't get more of it. It is controlled by the Earth. And so if we don't acknowledge that and feel gratitude for it, then we're never, ever going to be happy. If I really focused on the Earth and was grateful for being on the surface of the planet, an abundant planet, the most abundant planet we know in our scientific explorations and so on. It's the most abundant planet. And most of all, it provides breathable gas. So we can survive. Don't have to wear spacesuits all the time. Then the second thing is the body, the human body. Maybe you have turned your back on your body. Yeah. But really, it's a remarkable, evolved body. And if we go back to the breath, the fact is that in the top part of your chest, you have the lungs, which purify that oxygen, which we have access to 24/7 for 90 years, perhaps. And these lungs are remarkable organs. They flicker away all the time, 24/7, purifying the oxygen that the Earth provides, kicking out all the unwanted components that harm us, and keeping our bodies alive. So every morning I wake up and, wow, I'm so grateful to be able to breathe. And that I know for the rest of the day and the evening, I will continue to breathe. That's remarkable. So it's not a question of living our lives in our own way. We can't, although the limited mind will trick you and say, oh yes, we can manage without the Earth. Don't worry if you pollute the atmosphere. Don't worry if you cut down trees so the earth can't properly clean its atmosphere and so on. Limited mind will trick you into thinking that. And that's what's happened. That is what has happened. Developed peoples have gone ahead to take control, they think, of their lives. But we can never take control. We can never provide what planet Earth provides for us. And planet Earth really is the basis of our human spirit. The human spirit is something remarkable, remarkably strong. We can do anything. We can sustain anything if we are motivated. And that human spirit is something I'm really interested in rekindling when I work with embodiment. Very important. So just those few little ideas will, make you feel very, very different. That does make you feel better about your wonderful existence. Human existence is a remarkable opportunity. And I don't know about you, but I want to make a success of it. And I want to be truly happy. So those are two questions you should ask yourself. Are you making a success of your life? Are you truly happy? Those are two questions I always ask my clients. So let me just tell you how it works. I'm going to just talk briefly about 3 case studies of clients of mine. One client, of course, I will not divulge any names or anything like that. One client of mine had lost all notion of self-trust. He didn't trust himself at all, and therefore he didn't trust anybody else. And that was really becoming so difficult. He quit his job. He left his partner. He became incredibly isolated and incredibly depressed because he'd lost trust in himself. He'd lost all connection with himself. So I worked with him. I didn't let him talk for too long about his story. I started to work on his breath. And in my method, that's compass 2. So there are 4 compasses you saw in the video, in the presentation. The brain and pineal gland here between the eyebrows, the heart and lungs, which work together, down at breastbone, the solar plexus, which is the center of gravity of the body, and then right at the base of the spine, the base chakra. And this is where we really relate to planet Earth. It's a very important chakra because it's the center of many nerve endings, and it's the center of birth for women, of procreation for men, and of elimination. So just as much as we need to intake oxygen to live, we need to eliminate any toxins and poisons and so on in the body to live. So this base chakra is a really important center. Anyway, those are the 4 compasses. And with my client, let's call him client A, through working with breath, and I haven't got time to go into the real details of how this works, but working with his breath, his anxiety dissolved, and taking its place was clarity. It was suddenly, in about the 3rd session I had with him, I work in sessions of 30 minutes, usually, to recalibrate. For the 3rd session I had with him, he suddenly said, "Oh, I feel so clear. I don't think I've ever felt so clear." So the limited mind, this mind has tricked us into believing that we can get clarity here. No, you will never find clarity coming from the limited mind. It's a very small organ compared with the heart. And it is the heart and the nervous system and the breath which generate clarity. So not until your body, your spirit, and your unlimited mind, your consciousness are really balanced and you're really working in them and with them, will you have true clarity. It comes from the nervous system, not from this tiny organ of the brain. My second client, I'll just quickly move on because we're running out of time. My second client, was a burnout victim, badly burnt out. She couldn't do anything except cry, sit at home. She lost her job, she lost her partner, and she developed quite a lot of health problems because of burnout, because burnout is principally damage to the nervous system. I managed to get her balanced again by working with her third, her solar plexus, and with movement and some rituals. Now, don't worry, they're not religious rituals. By ritual, I mean the kind of things that we do every day. You know, the way you get up and have your breakfast in the morning. Maybe you do the same thing every day. These are rituals. These are the kind of rituals I'm thinking about. So I established some new rituals with her. I did some special movement work with her, and her solar plexus, which is just at the bottom of the breastbone, suddenly recharged one day, and suddenly could feel her purpose in life. Burnout means you lose your purpose, you mislay it altogether, because the outer behavior and the inner feelings don't match. There is no congruence there. So she reversed her burnout, and I'm really happy to say she has not burnt out again, and it's been now many months. And that's unusual, because if people burn out, they often burn out many times. So far she's very level, she's very balanced, and she has very strong sense of purpose. I'm delighted with that. The third client was a writer, and he was blocked, couldn't write, and he was suffering because he so badly wanted to write, but he couldn't write. And yes, he very early on said, I've lost my voice, I have no voice. So with the vocal tone of his throat, that's all to do with compass number 1, the brain and brainstem and so on. And I worked on vibration through his own voice, and how he could cue into those, and how he could create wonderful affirmations as a result of tuning his vibrations in a particular way. And within 3-4 sessions, he could, he started writing in a way he'd never written before. He was so thrilled. He was liberated from the block, which was all to do with his limited mind. So I showed him how to write from the unconscious mind and the body and the spirit. And he is writing wonderfully and madly now as a result. So those are just 3 case studies of people who made huge transitions through the work I do using my Lodestone method, and they are well and happy and creative today, I'm so pleased to say. So it's really nice to do these case studies with you, and if you're interested, or if you are in danger of burning out, if you're feeling you're not communicating well, if you can't bring your presence to bear in a public situation. If you're just feeling there's something not right, you're out of balance. And the best thing to do is give me a call and let's have a talk, and I'll get you sorted out and get you balanced again. So thank you so much for joining me today. Unfortunately, it's time to stop now. But yes, I'm here every Monday. If you would like to join me, I'd be delighted. And if you'd like to sign up to come and be my guest in the studio, I'd be delighted. So there's a choice on the link I'll give you at the bottom of this live window. You can choose whether you come to be a guest in the studio or whether you observe from outside. And yeah, Lodestone Lunch every Monday. Come and join me, and you'll learn more and more about embodiment, and you'll feel more and more. Thank you so much. This is Linden Thorp, Lodestone Lunch. See you soon. Thank you. Bye for now.